Welcome back to this channel. In this video, we will be introduced to one of linguistics branches, pragmatics. Let's get started. To start with, let's talk about what it is. Pragmatics is a branch of linguistics that studies how context influences meaning. It examines the ways in which situational factors, along with the knowledge and beliefs of the speaker and listener, affect the conveyed meaning and interpretation of utterances. Some of the key aspects of pragmatics include understanding implied meanings, contextual factors, speech acts, and conversational implicature. First, understanding implied meanings. Pragmatics focuses on the implied intended meanings behind utterances rather than just their literal meanings. It looks at how we use and interpret language based on the specific context and situation. For example, the question, "Can you pass the salt?" is not just about physical ability, but implies a request to hand over the salt shaker. Second, contextual factors. Pragmatics considers all the relevant contextual factors that shape meaning, such as the physical environment, the relationship between speakers, their background knowledge, and the preceding discourse. The same words can have different pragmatic meanings depending on the context. Third, speech acts. Pragmatics examines the different speech acts we perform through language, such as requesting, promising, apologizing, or threatening. It studies how we use language to do things beyond just conveying information. And fifth, conversational implicature. Pragmatics deals with conversational implicature, which refers to the implied premises or meanings that are suggested but not directly stated. These implicatures arise from adhering to cooperative principles and maxims of conversation. Now let's talk about some examples of pragmatic language use. Here are some key examples of pragmatic language use: sarcasm, indirect speech acts, metaphors and idioms, conversational implicature, code switching, taking conversational turns, and understanding non-literal language. Sarcasm involves saying the opposite of what is literally meant. For example, saying "great weather, isn't it?" during a heavy rainstorm conveys the intended sarcastic meaning that the weather is actually terrible. Indirect speech acts involve saying one thing but meaning something else based on the context. For example, saying "Can you pass the salt?" is literally a question about ability, but pragmatically understood as a request to hand over the salt. Metaphors and idioms require pragmatic interpretation beyond the literal meaning. For example, "She's a night owl" metaphorically means she stays up late, not that she is literally an owl. Conversational implicature refers to implied meanings based on adhering to conversational principles, like saying "I'm a little cold" to implicate a request to turn up the heat. Code switching allows pragmatic skills to switch between different language styles, registers, or even languages based on the context and audience. Taking conversational turns involves pragmatics governing turn-taking in conversations, like not interrupting others, introducing new topics appropriately, and using cues like pauses and eye contact. Understanding non-literal language helps interpret non-literal uses of language like jokes, sarcasm, exaggeration, for example, "I'm starving when just hungry," and figures of speech. In essence, pragmatic language use involves going beyond the literal meanings of words to infer the intended meanings based on the specific context and principles of communication. Theoretically, pragmatics is closely related to semantics. But how does pragmatics differ from semantics? Let's talk about it. Pragmatics differs from semantics in the following key ways. 1. Context dependence. Semantics deals with the literal meanings of words and sentences independent of context, while pragmatics focuses on the intended meanings derived from the specific context in which language is used. For example, the semantic meaning of "I'm hungry" is simply a statement about feeling a need for food. However, pragmatically, it could imply a request to go eat, depending on the context and how it is said. 2. Implied versus literal meaning. Semantics analyzes the literal, truth-conditional meanings of linguistic expressions. Pragmatics goes beyond the literal, studying the implied, intended meanings that are inferred from context and principles of communication. For instance, semantically, "Can you pass the salt?" is a question about ability, but pragmatically it is understood as a request based on the context. 3. Social aspects of language. While semantics focuses on the formal meanings of words and sentences, pragmatics examines how those meanings are shaped by social factors like the relationship between speakers, their intentions, and the overall context of the utterance. 4. Scope. Semantics has a narrower scope, dealing with the meanings of words, phrases, and sentences. Pragmatics takes a broader perspective, analyzing how those meanings are interpreted and used in actual communication contexts. In essence, semantics studies the literal meanings represented by linguistic expressions themselves, while pragmatics analyzes how those meanings are shaped, inferred, and applied in real-world language use and social contexts. That's all for the video today. Don't forget to like and share,